Welcome! I'm going to teach you how to wreck Thanatos-R so you never lose to him ever again. Also, I'll teach you how to stunlock him with a knife or a high-powered Magnum to impress the living shit out of all your online friends. Share this with a newbie player on Discord. Let's Thanatos jump attack right into it. Thanatos-R is a teleporting lag monster. He has the potential to end and destroy a Showdown 3 run or just greatly cripple your team's ammo and health supply, despite him not being hard at all. His biggest weapon isn't his stretchy arm, it's his lag. Whoever is the room master for Thanatos-R should always take it upon themselves to be the one that kills him. Do not rely on a team effort to take down this boss. The room master kills Thanatos-R. I'll repeat that for the love of God. The room master kills Thanatos-R. So give the room master the Magnum or the survival knife. Thanatos only takes 20% damage from firearms on his body, but will take 100% damage if you hit his heart. You definitely want to attack his heart because of this. Luckily, in File 2, auto-aiming goes straight for his heart, unlike in File 1. If you hit his body, you'll see a gray-colored smoke fill the air where he stands. That means you've hit his body, dealing only 20%. You can tell if you hit his heart, dealing full damage, if you see a mysterious red liquid come bursting out of it. The red liquid is called blood. It's the only place you'll see blood from him. Firstly, I had trouble naming this mechanic since sometimes it's a 2-hit or a 4-hit retreat, but 95% of the time, it seems like it's a 3-hit retreat, so I went with that. Don't get too caught up in the name of this mechanic. 3-hit retreat is when you hit Thanatos 3 times in quick succession. He will try to retreat from your onslaught by jumping away from you in the air. David's 3-hit combo, a 3-bullet burst handgun, or any automatic weapon will do it quick. You can use any weapon to activate the 3-hit retreat, although sometimes it takes 2 or 4 hits to make him retreat. It seems like it takes 4 hits using a simple tackle to make him run away from you, and I don't understand why. There's one caveat to it. Every time he successfully ends an attack, it resets the counter back to 0. The reset happens right as the attack animation is officially over and his body is reset to neutral. You can also reset the 3-hit retreat when you're shooting him in the heart. Normally the 3-hit retreat counter resets to 0 when Thanatos recovers from an attack animation. Using heart hits, it works a bit differently. The 3-hit retreat resets to 0 once his body stops shaking from the jolt of being hit on his heart. When he resets to a neutral standing position from the heart hit right before he starts walking around again, this will reset the hit counter back to 0. Only after successfully performing a 3-hit retreat on Thanatos will that open up the opportunity for you to perform a jump loop on him. A very effective way to kill Thanatos is by forcing him to do jump loops. That's basically when it takes a single hit to make him jump in the air. We'll try jumping on the person he is aggro to over and over again on each loop. Dodge the hit, and when he lands on you, hit him again and he repeats the jump forever. The jump loop can be broken when you let him recover from the last jump animation without damaging him again though. If you can get Thanatos in a jump loop and you have a knife equipped, it's lights out for him. You'll eventually be able to easily knife him to death from it. If you have him activate a jump loop and you have a weapon equipped, eventually you'll need to reload and the jump loop will be broken. This is why using a knife on him is so effective. No reload times on it. This is simple enough. Every 1000 damage that Thanatos incurs, he will attempt to jump away from you. So in Showdown 1, his HP is 10,000. He will try to retreat from you once his HP reaches 9,000. In Showdown 3, his HP is only 4,200. He will try to retreat from you once his HP reaches 3,200. The jump he performs to get away from you, however, can be interrupted if you hit his heart, so that he will stay with you instead of jumping into the air. Although, if you perform a 3-hit retreat on him during this time, the retreating jump will be uninterruptible since the rule of 3 takes priority over the 1,000 damage retreat, and you lose that 1,000 damage jump. The 3-hit retreat and the 1,000 damage retreat are both important later on when we learn how to infinite loop Thanatos. Let's look at weaponry now. Let's start with the best weapons to use against him. The survival knife, which does 500% damage to him. If you have no lag and a knife, you can easily kill him with this by sticking him into a jump loop while you slowly knife him to death. You'll want to try to stab his heart during the jump loops as much as possible to end him 5 times faster. Eventually, you'll hit a wall during the jump loops, and you'll have to drag him back to the center if you want those delicious heart hits again. If you look at my knife timing, I find you'll get heart hits better if you fully let him stand up before swinging, just not too late where he recovers from his animation, which will end the jump loop. You can also stunlock him from 0 to death with very, very, very pristine timing and adherence to a flawless rhythm. It's probably around a 5 or 6 frame window. In other words, it takes hours and hours of practice to get even slightly consistent at. I use visual cues to do this using David's elbow animation to judge when I take another swing. As soon as the elbow returns to a motionless neutral position, around a 5 or 6 frame window after his elbow stops. David's knife swing animation seems to be different than the rest of the cast, so you probably won't be able to emulate this on any other character, so you're on your own learning that rhythm with your preferred character. This is super flashy to do, but isn't worth learning how to do unless you're playing solo, since if any online teammates hits Thanatos during this time, it will ruin everything and make Thanatos jump away. It's just not worth it. The Magnum can waste him real quick. 100% worth using it for this fight to end his laggy bullshit very fast. Also a great weapon you can use to stunlock him from 0 to death. To stunlock him with the Magnum, you want to first position yourself as close to his heart as possible. The bullet spread from this gun is real nice. Big, thick bullets, boy. Makes it hard to miss. You'll only use auto aim to line up your shots, but then you release it and start manual aiming from here on out. Aim your Magnum straight up as far as it goes and fire 2 shots as quickly as possible. This does 2 things. You are not activating the 3-hit retreat mechanic, and you've also breached his 1,000 damage limit. Awesome. If we fire 3 shots instead, he'd be able to get away from us. So now we're forcing him to do a 1,000 damage retreat jump that can be interrupted with another Magnum bullet. So we shoot him twice, then let your Magnum drop back down to neutral, and immediately fire a 3rd shot to interrupt his jump attack. From here on out, you only shoot him once upward and once neutrally over and over until he's dead. Only when you're starting the chain attack do you shoot him twice upward. The Magnum doesn't have to drop completely to neutral though. As long as it moves downward towards a neutral just a tiny smidge, it will still work. Speed plays a factor in this big time though. If you're using a character with at least 112% damage modifier, and you're shooting your Magnum point blank for maximum damage, you can activate the 1,000 damage retreat with only a single Magnum shot. Just make sure your Magnum is doing the full 900 damage from a point blank shot, since you don't have to be too far away for a bullet to be considered mid-range damage in File 2. Get real close. This is much easier to do than knife locking him, and you can learn it pretty quick in comparison. Teammates won't be able to react quick enough to ruin your combo by activating the 3-hit retreat mechanic accidentally before he dies. Well, at least in Showdown 3, where his HP is half as much than that of Showdown 1, but nobody plays Showdown 1, so who cares? Mr. Red's damage output is so high, he can kill Showdown 3's Thanatos with 745 shots at point blank range or even mid range, just not Showdown 1's Thanatos, who has more than double Showdown 3's Thanatos' HP. Kevin's 45 is decent enough when you shoot Thanatos in the heart as well. The bullet spread for a 45 is smaller than that of a Magnum, so your spacing must be more pristine using the smaller gun at point blank range. From mid range, you can just use auto aim perfectly, but will do less damage because it's mid range. It also has less recoil, making it a bit harder to judge when to fire. Just a bit harder. You can also stun lock him similar to that of a Magnum, but even if you use all your 745 shots, it won't kill Thanatos unless you're using Mr. Red, while playing the weaker version of Thanatos from Showdown 3. The damage is good enough though, so you can quickly just pump him up with it, and it's still really good damage. Lastly, the Virus Pill Shooter, which does 200% damage to him. This does 2,000 damage per heart shot. The only problem is you can't auto-aim, so you have to manually set it up to enter his heart. It's not too hard though. Usually you just do this off a jump attack, run 2 steps forward, then turn around and aim up, and that'll do the trick. Takes 3 pills to kill him in Showdown 3. Bad weapons to use on Thanatos are as follows. The regular handgun. It's a glorified spitball shooter. I facepalm when I see people using a handgun against him because it's going to make him jump around everywhere while doing almost no damage. This is bad because your teammates have to deal with a laggy, jumpy tyrant and can cause too much destruction to your teammates who might be fighting a lag doppelganger version of him on their screen while taking damage from it. Do not use the handgun. Another bad weapon, the shotgun. It's a pain to hit his heart with this weapon, although it's not impossible, it's just a huge pain. Don't use the grenade launcher on Thanatos either. The grenades have trouble accurately hitting his heart, especially at close range. The trick to having grenades hit his heart is you cannot rely on auto-aim to do the entire job for you. Just use auto-aim to line up your shots, then switch to manual aim and aim up as high as possible, since auto-aim wants to shoot slightly below his heart if you let it. Grenades on Thanatos is a last resort in most cases. Don't waste your assault rifle on this guy either, it's just going to make Thanatos jump up and down nerd raging. Don't use the assault rifle against him, save it for literally anything else. Molotov cocktails are pretty crappy against him too. We don't need to talk about it. And the rocket launcher is pretty bad on him in File 2. It instant kills him in File 1, but in File 2 it does 20% damage to his legs. You can get mostly full damage if you manage to shoot his heart with it while he's doing a smash attack, but if you for some reason still have a rocket launcher in your inventory for Showdown 1, well, you might as well use it though, I guess. When fighting Thanatos and he's aggroed on you, then what you want to do is play a game of footsies with him. You want to stay on the broken arm side of his body while spinning him around in circles like a ballerina. He's got a very slow turning radius, so the more time he spends turning in circles, the less he's attacking, jumping, or dash attacking you. Just be careful you don't turn him too far that he opts to use a quick 180-degree turn. If he does do a 180-degree turn, it can take you by surprise and he can be readying an attack that you won't be able to avoid probably. So when you're spinning him in circles, make sure you don't get too aggressive with the angle you're at. If you spin him too far behind, he'll just do a 180 and face you instead. If he does do a 180-degree turn, you're going to want to quickly run to his armless side again and restart the entire process before he dash attacks you. Let's talk about his dash attack first. If you move too far away from Thanatos-R, he will usually dash attack you. During his dash attack, he covers his heart with his big arm, making him invulnerable and invincible while he dashes. Bullets will just go right through him. Don't step between a teammate with aggro and Thanatos. You might eat a dash attack meant for your teammate. If you're a character without a dodge, you will want to fight near a grounded item so you can use that for invincibility frames during a dash attack. Preferably one that isn't pushed up against a wall, but one out in the open for some extra wiggle room. The Jackhammer Smash attack. When Thanatos raises his arm in the air, he's actually invincible. Bullets will be shown hitting him, but will be doing 0 damage. He loses his temporary invincibility when his arm is resting on the ground. But he also regains his invincibility when he's withdrawing his arm from the ground. It really makes no sense to me, but that's how it is. If he does this attack next to a wall, then it will push his character model backwards, causing a real fat moving hitbox of destruction. Get extra far away from him when you see his arm is going to hit a wall up close. Thanatos kick attack. If you get real close to his leg, he will opt to kick you in the face. The kick is real hard to dodge because it's so quick. Just don't stand directly in front of him and he won't do it. Thanatos arm flail. He flails his big arm in all directions. Being side by side his big arm is ultra risky. You always want to be on the side of Thanatos where his arm is ripped off and missing. This gives you the best chance at reactively dodging his attack. The flail will start right in front of him, then it'll sweep behind him before it travels clockwise all around his body. That's a massive amount of coverage and hard to impossible to dodge when standing next to the big arm. This move also has some nice blind spots where the arm just passes right over you and doesn't reach you. You can also low profile this attack by crouching over to pick up an item. His arm flail can go right above you if you're positioned properly. You can also dodge this move by swinging a knife or a pipe downwards, and it's just enough for the arm flail to pass right over you. It's harder dodging it with a pipe though, since there's more delay before your character is hunched over compared with a downward knife swing, which has much less delay. George can also low profile it by charging his special tackle. You get the iframes from his dodge, and you can hold the button down to keep him low profiled if there's still a hitbox lingering around. Thanatos jump attack. When he jump attacks you, then you'll see a shadow below you before he lands there. When he lands, his body will be orientated to the south usually, although sometimes he doesn't face the south when he lands and will be facing in the direction you were facing when he lands. This can throw off your heart hit knife swings.